You know, it's hard. It's really hard. There are obstacles every day. Some of them are big. Some of them are overwhelming. There was many days that I didn't feel like I could do it. It was always 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes it was just a standstill. You didn't know how you were going to go forward. It's really hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And sometimes there were precious and beautiful moments that I treasure. There are people that I met and experiences that I had that wouldn't have happened any other way. You just don't know if it's ever going to end. It just goes on, and it's the same thing every day. So being a single mom is the hardest thing I've ever done. I realized quite immediately that I needed education to be able to support my family and take care of them the way I needed to. And when I had my daughter Hope, it was so much harder. I had to find childcare for her, and I know every step of the way how difficult it is for single parents.
Hello, I'm Race Knutson, and with SUTV special coverage, we'll tell you about a journey through the desert, a quest to build a child care center, and 3 men running for hope in a race through northern Arizona and southern Utah in the Grand to Grand Ultra Endurance Race.
About 10% of our students self-identify as parents with children. We've found that if they can't get childcare, which is very expensive here, they end up leaving class, dropping a class, dropping out of school.
I realized that there was a need for childcare.
SUU received a grant from the Sorenson Legacy Foundation and started raising more private funds. Then, SUU submitted plans to the Utah System of Higher Education Board of Regents for funding the Sorenson Legacy Foundation Child and Family Development Center.
So it was turned down.
Oh, so discouraged. Probably for a good month I was really discouraged, and I just didn't know if we would be able to get the funds the next year. Our plan was to try again.
President Scott Wyatt looked around SUU campus for an existing building suitable for child care.
The university purchased a home that's across the street north of the Shakespeare Center. He sat up and said, "Hey, I have an idea." He said, "What if we move into that house and give our home, which has almost exact the amount of square footage that we were asking for the Child Development Center, for that use. That way we could use the funds, which we've already raised, almost $1.3 million, to just renovate."
This is now a project that we can move forward on and have available for students hopefully as early as fall of 2019.
Scott decided to use an endurance race to help raise awareness and money.
I'm constantly running, I'm constantly doing things, constantly trying to take care of the things they need, the things I need.
Scott recruited some SUU friends to run the Grand to Grand Ultra Endurance Race. SUU biology professor Bill Heyborne and director of global collaboration Johnny O. Scott has extensive backpacking experience, even 3 weeks climbing Denali, but he hasn't done much running. Bill has run 2 marathons, some triathlons, and a lot of biking and backpacking experience. Johnny teaches martial arts, has run 22 marathons, and completed some long backpacking trips. They began their training months in advance, walking and running around campus, sometimes running the steep sea trail before dawn. The training helped, but it also caused injuries. Scott had a bad knee, developed blisters during training, and his stomach was bothering him. 2 years ago, Johnny was in a serious motorcycle accident, shattering his ankle. Just a year ago, he had follow-up surgery. He couldn't walk on it for months. He still feels it. And Bill developed stress fractures during training. He was on crutches just 3 months before the race. If dealing with training and injuries weren't enough, Scott had another huge challenge. At the same time he was supposed to sign in for the race, he was 300 miles away in Salt Lake City as SUU president, presenting at a very important facilities and budget meeting. Down in southern Utah, Bill had already checked in and was waiting. Scott got some help from SUU Aviation. Right after his presentation, an instructor and student pilot flew him from Salt Lake to Kanab, just in time for last names starting with W to register for the race. On the way, Scott got good news from the meeting. The Regents approved the current president's house for a child care center. With the building secured, remodeling and equipment required additional funding. The race could raise some of those funds.
I think it's fantastic. We've probably been responsible for raising probably pretty close to $1 million over the last 7 years for over 50 charities. Just this year alone, people are raising money for 20 different causes.
The Grand to Grand is a 6-stage, self-supported race. For the 7 days, except for water, absolutely everything the runner uses, including food and sleeping bag, must be carried in the backpack.
So this backpack, 25 liters. Right here are my clothes. That's it, total clothes. 1 pair of underwear, no change. I do have extra socks, long underwear, shirt, insulation, rain jacket, 2 knee braces. I'm an old guy. This is all food right here. You ready? You look like you're ready.
Runners from all over the world gather the next morning to board vans and buses. They're here to compete, but also to get to know other competitors and enjoy southern Utah. Kanab is remote enough, but they drive for miles, and miles, and miles into the desert. The race course travels 171 miles from the Grand Canyon, north around Kanab, back south through the coral pink sand dunes, and then north again toward Bryce Canyon National Park. The starting point is one of the most remote parts of the Grand Canyon, sitting 5,000 feet above the Colorado River. International visitors view the canyon in awe.
You see pictures of it and you see it on film, but actually being here, it's just incredible.
This is the last ultra that will help me cover like all of the multi-stage ultra on all of the continents.
At Camp 1, runners enjoy a carb-loading spaghetti dinner.
Johnny's calling this the Last Supper. Last Supper.
Runners rest and anticipate the next day.
Hey guys. This is home for the next week, I guess.
"135 runners gather at the starting line, with 6 teams among them. About every 8 miles is a checkpoint. At checkpoint 3, they have run and walked for 4.5 hours, covering just over 18 miles. As they approach the checkpoint, SUU for Hope's spirits are high.
No complaints here, no complaints.
So we had to stop for 20 minutes to work on our toes, get bandages and stuff, and we were committed to get to pass at least 20 people, and we passed 30.
Staff record their time, cool them off, and help fill their water bottles.
Water tastes terrible. It's warm. Do you want some?
Feels so good on the skin. Oh, that breeze.
It gives you a sense of energy when you're passing people.
With no trees on the route, the runners went without shade during the first stage of the race. Though the cooler temperatures helped, there were still many miles to go between each checkpoint. At mile 26, SUU's runners show fatigue.
It was a little rougher than the first 2.
Johnny and Bill are doing relatively well. Scott appears weaker.
I'm ready for dinner. I'm looking for a pizza. I didn't drink enough and I didn't eat enough. Between checkpoint 3 and 4, about halfway, I just started losing energy.
During the race, you've got to have some kind of a schedule, if you will. So even if the person is not saying they're hungry, it's like, but you need to eat. You need to eat this, you need to eat it now, you need to drink.
Good luck, guys!
So really the reason that I named my daughter Hope is it was really the darkest time of my life. It was really scary. I was all alone, but I didn't know how I was going to get from A to B. I mean, I was 40 years old and pregnant, going back to college to get a degree. It was really intimidating.
There were moments I was worried that I wouldn't make it, but I just remember thinking, everything I've got, everything I got to put into this. started to bonk a little bit back there.
Okay, that's fine.
So I just need to...
Camp 2 is located in stunning House Rock Valley. Visitors observe rare California condors flying above the Vermilion Cliffs. But the SUU's team's thoughts are more down to earth.
Well, this is the appetizer, ramen.
Ow!
Johnny tries to relieve the aches from the backpacks.
This is like some sort of Korean torture!
Unfortunately, 4 of our 6 teams disintegrated yesterday, so we've only got 2 teams left. It's the Southern Utah University team and the Roosters.
Wearing the leader bibs puts SUU for Hope in elite company. Chen Penbin from China wears the individual leader bib. In 2015, he ran 100 marathons in 100 days.
By just finishing the race, in their hearts, they are champions and can be proud of themselves.
The Grand to Grand runners aren't the first to traverse these hills. Dinosaurs, Native Americans, explorers, and Mormon pioneers all came through here. At checkpoint 3, after 16 miles, SUU for Hope arrives in 60th place.
Better than yesterday afternoon. We'll see how this afternoon goes. Look at that farmer tan, Johnny.
I'm a farmer.
The SUU team has a large lunch, as much as could be spared from their pack, and get their feet taped. Scott struggles to eat and drink. Nothing tastes good.
As we got started, I was feeling a little bit nauseous and I got that taste of vomit up into my mouth, but I'm not going to give away a calorie, so I just kept it down. I don't have a single toenail that's normal. They're all black, falling off, or in stages of regrowing.
The trees open to reveal the Grand Staircase, the geologic layers that climb from the Grand Canyon to Bryce Canyon. The top of the Grand Staircase, the reason for the race name, Grand to Grand. Scott did get some extra protein on the way.
We were running along and a bug flew into my mouth, and normally I would spit it out, but a free calorie shows up in my mouth. I'm not going to give that away. So I just chewed it up and swallowed.
At the Stage 2 finish and Camp 3, over 70 runners have completed the 27 miles.
Really, the lowest point was the day that he left. The day that he packed up his things and drove away in his truck, and I realized that he wasn't coming back, that this wasn't going to work out. And I realized that I was alone, that I had to face this alone, and it was devastating.
Some runners who were at previous checkpoints with the SUU for Hope have already come in.
Thank you. Good work.
No sign of the SUU team. They covered 27 miles of tough desert trail in 8 hours and 31 minutes.
Well done. Oh, today much better than yesterday. Well done, Scott.
With a win?
Yeah.
Oh. Fun day.
Not only did SUU for Hope move up in the standings,
yesterday you were 97, 98, and 99. And today you were 77, 78, and 79.
Oh, wow. Nice.
they increased their lead over the second place team by another 20 minutes. The line builds outside the medical tent. Tonight, it's Bill's turn.
Ow. Sorry. Yeah, that hurt.
Some of SUU for Hope's British tent mates have run the MDS, or Sahara Multi-Day Endurance Race in Morocco. The MDS has been called the toughest foot race on Earth.
This race is definitely harder. There's more sand, and the sand here is very soft, so it gets through the gaiters. There's also a lot of hills, a lot more hills than Marathon des Sables in Morocco, which makes it really, really tough.
With only 5 miles behind them and 48 miles to go, the runners take on Mansard Hill, a 1,500-foot climb.
Morning, T-Bird Nation. No, this is easy. Yeah, we can climb.
SUU Aviation is there to capture the ascent. Mile after mile of sand and rock has taken its toll. Many runners hobble into Checkpoint 3 with blisters, bloody toenails, and bloody noses to show for it.
Oh my gosh. You'll be my hero. If you make any funny noises, I'm walking away. That's all I'll take it.
The next stop.
Thank you.
Most disgusting fajitas I've ever seen. Guys need a TV?
At 32 miles, Scott is nauseated and shivering.
Good litter picking.
Yeah.
On this long stage, the medical staff watches for problems.
The reason we're here is because people can actually get really sick. People die at these kind of races. Mostly it's from heat illness, hyponatremia, which is low salt. The altitude can cause problems, dehydration. That's why we're here.
At the Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, one of the few places the public can cheer on the runners, the team receives some appreciated support.
To cheer our son on. His wife and kids couldn't be here today, and so we made a special effort to be here.
But Kanab's got behind it. They supported it good. They really do. They support it. It's good for the community. It's good for the area.
A brief stretch of asphalt before a more difficult trail. With 21 miles still to go, mostly sand, the task seems daunting. Only the fastest runners will reach the dunes before nightfall. All others must either choose to run on through the night, or they can rest and attempt to tackle the many miles of sand in the morning. A month before the race, and not knowing the exact route, Scott and Johnny had practiced on the coral pink sand dunes.
It feels totally, completely different. And we just want to make sure that when we hit the sand dunes, that we can think, I've already done this. It's exhausting.
At 11:30 at night, the first runners arrive at camp. Another 30 arrive during the night. The next morning, 90 runners are still on the trail.
Thank you.
Well done.
Then, at 8:15, just over 24 hours after starting and after 53 miles, SUU for Hope comes in.
Finished, totally dead.
Kidneys are destroyed.
And all of a sudden we see two people ahead of us. We must overtake them. This is a race.
As the sun rose higher, more runners continued to cross the finish line.
And the dunes were like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to end? And just finishing the long stage just gives us a great amount of confidence through the rest of this race.
At about 3 in the afternoon, a camp-wide celebration welcomes the final runner into camp. Jim Raffone, raising money and awareness for his sick son, has run the race twice before, but has never made it this far.
Thank you everybody for your support, really.
The rest of the afternoon was left for relaxation and recovery.
Oh, come on, I had it.
At checkpoint 2, the heat might be getting to Johnny.
Whoa, halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Take my
Food is always a topic.
As in jerky, but bacon.
You want some peanut butter? I have some right here in my facial hair. I'm saving it for later.
SUU for Hope spirits are running high.
I can't see a thing with my sunglasses on.
Take the rope with you. That's not your first time.
No, it's not. Today was a good day. Yeah, we felt good all day.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one, man. After a long day yesterday, this time pretty easy.
Didn't have any problems with nausea, which I've been having in the past. Got all my food. We moved up on our position by quite a bit.
A lot of tourists stroll through Peekaboo Slot Canyon each year, but today, these runners are not here for sightseeing. At first, SUU for Hope just wanted to finish the race, but now they have shifted gears.
Two's out. You ready? Come on, my rope is leaving.
For another 21 miles, runners continue the climb out of the desert, up into sagebrush and pines.
I'm so over this. I'm ready to be done.
And on my really difficult days, I just prayed for strength.
With only camp and the finish line tomorrow, confidence soars.
Leaving on a prayer.
Yes,
all right, ready?
Of all the pleasures in life.
Just every little tiny victory I made a big deal out of so that I could celebrate every step of the way. I did get stronger and I did get smarter, and things just started going better.
You cannot develop strength by living a life of ease. It's just not possible. Someone can give you gifts of things, possessions, but nobody can give you a gift of character. You have to earn that. That has to be won in the battles that we fight inside ourselves, between our heart, our mind, our body, until you've pushed yourself as far as you can go, and then pushed yourself a little further and a little further. That's when you start discovering what's in you.
You've got to have the grit, the mental fortitude to just power through it. And so doing something like this, I think, teaches grit.
If you're struggling, if you're ever wondering if you can do it, man, I don't know if I can do it. I'm here to give you that hope. I know you can.
Life is hard, but that doesn't mean you quit. You just keep going until you're stronger, and then you keep going. I do have a full-time job at a CPA firm. I have a career that I'm building, and I absolutely could not have done it without my education. Without my degree, it would not have happened.
On the morning of the final stage, starts are staggered. The slowest runners start at 7, others at 8, and the fastest at 9. So different paced runners will cross the finish line at the same time.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to see him. I think they have done amazing. I have been so impressed by just their stamina and their attitudes and just everything.
We've been anxious. We've been checking their results every night, just trying to follow along and see what's going on, but we've been excited. We're proud of our team and excited for them to finish today.
My heart is pounding because I can't wait to see them cross the finish line. Everyone I talk to says, tell your husband he's crazy, but all of our married life, he has set amazing goals for himself because he stretches himself. He does hard things and he completes them, and it inspires me to do the same.
Well, I think the team is phenomenal. You know, for them to even think about doing something like this, you know, this is optional for them. For me being a single mom, that wasn't optional. I would have never chosen it. I would have never, ever, ever done that.
After 59 hours, 20 minutes, and 5 seconds on the trail, the SUU runners placed 69th out of 111 finishers.
This is what we've been fighting for all week long. Go Thunderbirds. Woo! It's so good. Hello! Love you all!
Like, so you can start taking yoga with
Our company women's a second-time finisher.
Oh, so awesome to have this. Oh my gosh, that watermelon tastes like manna from the gods.
Oh, no.
This is so good.
1, 2, 3.
It's so amazing.
Okay, so you look right here.
This is the best pizza I've ever eaten. Nice! Thank you.
I would like to ask Scott Wyatt, William Heyborne, and Johnny O to come up.
For its combined speed and unity, SUU for Hope wins first place in the team competition. An amazing individual and team accomplishment, certainly appropriate for Southern Utah University, two-time winner of the Outdoor Nation Challenge, the most outdoorsy school in the nation, and SUU trademarked as the University of the Parks. But most important, SUU demonstrates its commitment and compassion towards non-traditional students, young parents and single parents who want to pursue higher education, a much-needed step in a happy and successful life.
And I suspect, with the help of telling this story, there will be more to come, and the project will be completed, and our students will have a place to bring their children so that they can get their education.
With a more affordable childcare facility, these parent-students can more easily pursue their dreams and hopes for the future. That is why SUU is running for hope.